We'll just keep buying the top forever. Every day is a good day to buy Bitcoin. We look at it as cyber Manhattan. I would have bought Manhattan 100 years ago, 200 years ago, every year for the past 300 years. You pay a little bit more than the person that bought Manhattan before you, but it's always a good investment to invest in the economic capital of the free world.
We have a new term, cyber Manhattan, which is actually pretty interesting. We all know Bitcoin is going to go up just like Manhattan, but we're still so early that we're pretty much just kind of buying a little bit of dirt with a few paved roads. There's not beautiful mansions or, Wall Street or anything like that happening right now. We're just seeing the bare bones of what Bitcoin is, which really drives the point. We have a long way to go. America really doesn't have good regulation. We don't have much as far as the world regulation. And on top of that, we're just now starting to see governments get involved. So what do you guys think?
Do you think that Trump is serious about creating this Bitcoin reserve? And how would that work?
I think he is. And, if you think about the Louisiana Purchase, California, and Alaska, we paid $40 million to buy 75% of the United States. Nobody remembers the $40 million. But if you know where the money's going, you should buy the property, buy the future. And in this case, the Lummis plan calls for 1 million Bitcoin acquisition. That's worth $16 trillion to the country. RFK proposed 4 million Bitcoin that would be worth about $56 trillion. There's room for Trump to go beyond that, even $81 trillion in gains. And that's against $36 trillion in the U.S. national debt. So all the capital outside the U.S. and all of the antiquated 20th century capital is going to flow into digital assets. It's going to flow into the Bitcoin network. And the logical thing is for the U.S. to buy it now and own the future.
And just chase it up at any price?
I think just a progressive acquisition of it makes sense. Keep in mind, if you bought Manhattan from 1650 to 1700 a little bit every single year, it would have been a good acquisition. Right now, we can buy, the United States could literally buy 20-25% of the Bitcoin network, either by trading out its existing gold stores or just by borrowing a small trace amount of money. And so the Bitcoin network to go up by a factor of 100, you might as well buy it before it 100x's.
Your Manhattan analog is really interesting, Michael, because the reason it would have made sense to buy Manhattan is because they agreed it's going to be on a grid going north. And I wonder if you see similar policy analogs right now in crypto. Are we that organized?
The world wants a digital assets framework, and the United States has a great opportunity to define a digital assets framework. We need to define the definitions of a digital commodity, a currency, a security, a token, an NFT, and an asset-backed token. And we need the rights and responsibilities of issuers and the exchanges and the owners. But that takes consensus from the executive branch, the House, the Senate, and the industry. And we didn't have that for the past 4 years. The opportunity for the U.S., it's to issue $10 trillion of digital currency and back the dollar. It's to capture $50 trillion of capital gain on the digital capital network. And I do believe with the digital assets framework that this administration could put forward, there's no reason why we won't see $500 trillion of assets tokenized over the next 21 years and $280 trillion in capital flow into the digital capital network that is Bitcoin.
And where does that lead Bitcoin's eventual price?
My 21-year forecast is for Bitcoin to appreciate about 29% a year, ARR, to $13 million a coin by the year 2045.
I really love interviews like this just because it allows somebody like a Michael Saylor to go up on CNBC or Fox Business or Bloomberg and really try to educate the audience who maybe doesn't know too much about Bitcoin about how early we all are in this journey. Let's just call it that, right? If you go into state politics, federal politics, international politics, everything is still so small. There's not really so much going on about it. Remember, I go to a lot of expos every year in the cryptocurrency community, whether it be Bitcoin Nashville this year, right? Or Bitcoin Miami in the past, or just, Consensus in Austin, NFT New York, a lot of stuff happening. I would say this is the first year where I've really started to see a lot of politicians really lean into Bitcoin. And I'm not just talking about one or two people who are just like, my constituents like this, so maybe I'll figure out what it's about. No, That was all done last year. Now you're starting to see tons and tons and tons of local representatives across the country, and of course senators out in DC, really making a push to understand cryptocurrency, because they now understand cryptocurrency is very much tied in with blockchain technology. And if you want to bring more jobs to your city, you guys want to be that part of the next big step here as far as crypto, blockchain, everything around that, payment systems, you name it, it's going to be part of it. They're going to have to learn what everything is, know the right players in the industry, and the easiest way to do that is simply to meet them and have these background meetings, you want to call them that, at these specific expos and whatnot. Every now and again, a big major CEO will, of course, like head over to DC to talk with them and things like that. But most of the time, we're talking about mid-level CEOs who don't know many people. They have their niches, of course, in California, maybe New York, but that's not going to be enough usually to go into the power groups, if you will. And now that they're starting to be seeked out here or sought after, this really makes me excited just about the future of what cryptocurrency is going to bring us. Again, Bitcoin right now is, I think, around $94,000, $93,000. Of course, it was just at $107,000 a few days ago, and then the Fed kind of messed things up. But that being said, when it comes to Bitcoin specifically, and a couple of those higher altcoins, as you guys know, all of these dips are just really beautiful buying opportunities for those of you guys who want to hold for the very long term. Even Michael Saylor was just talking about this. They're going to keep on buying more and more and more, because all we need to have happen is just America or another country out there to buy some Bitcoin. When they start buying Bitcoin, prices are going to skyrocket. When there's not enough Bitcoin to be mined, or there's just not enough Bitcoin out there for everybody, prices are going to skyrocket. That's the type of stuff that makes us really, really excited. And I can't wait to see where this goes off in the future. Now, when I'm looking at all this and I'm using, his phrase, Cyber Manhattan, I do think that's part of it, but I think it's so much more than just that. I think maybe Bitcoin itself can be considered Cyber Manhattan, but if you kind of took away the blockchain technology, everything around that, everything like around Ethereum, Solana, Tron with payments and things, moving money back and forth, I think there's a strong case to be made that we should be putting a lot more money in this type of currency, these types of assets, if you want to call them that, instead of maybe putting all of our money into the traditional stock market. I think when I was first getting into cryptocurrency, I was spending about 98% of my capital into the stock market, 2% in crypto, because I was just a little bit more curious. And now I'm kind of 50-50 here. I've been putting a lot more money into Bitcoin, especially when we have those bear markets. It's just a buying frenzy. I know we're not in a bear market now, but man, when we get into them, it's a fun time here. Then on top of that, I'll still buy my Teslas and my AI things like, AI stocks, but I found a lot of the upside has generally been in the stock market to just do the dividend plays, get more money, kind of let it sit and let it kind of grow your portfolio, right? With a little bit of tech in there, a little bit of oil, fine. But with crypto, it's going to be extremely volatile, and you don't really have to do much to keep that volatility in there. All we need to have happen is the government start giving us some rules, and you've seen what the perception of future rules has done for us, right? Pro-crypto policy incoming from Donald Trump. I know the election was going to be a toss-up here, but ever since he won, everybody is like, oh no, all of a sudden we have somebody that's going to protect cryptocurrency, promote cryptocurrency, and really get it to not just survive like it has been, but to really thrive. And again, not just Bitcoin, the rest of the assets thriving as well, maybe except for meme coins and stuff like that. And then, of course, helping blockchain technology thrive as a whole as well. And even Bitcoin mining thriving out here. So please let me know what you guys think about all this. I know we're kind of in this huge spot right now with Bitcoin kind of dropping, but the more I hear statements like this, not from just Michael Saylor, but from everybody out there, we know we're still at the beginning and there's just so much further to go. I'm really curious to see what you guys are thinking of as far as your plan for how you want to buy Bitcoin, or how long you want to hold Bitcoin at all. Maybe some of you guys only want to hold it for the 10, 15 more years. Maybe some of you guys will only hold it until there's no more Bitcoin to be mined. There's a lot of different ways this can play out. Thanks.